Chapter 1. The Fall. The scent of betrayal is thicker than the iron tang of blood in the air. I stand at the center of the council circle, the crescent moon hanging low behind the towering pines. Every gaze is on me, cold and unflinching, no warmth, just judgment. The hall smells of earth and damp stone, smells I used to associate with home. Now they are suffocating. My heart thumps so hard, I'm certain they can all hear it. My cloak, once embroidered with my father's crest, lies tattered at my feet. They'd torn it off me, said I wasn't fit to wear it. Condemned before I heard my charges. You passed information to the Blacktooth clan, Elder Harvin growls, his massive frame casting shadows across the stone floor. They raided our borders last night, 5 of my personal guard, dead. My hands tremble. I didn't. Don't lie, Lyra's voice cracks from somewhere to my left, forced into a snarl I've never heard from her before. She steps forward, and I catch sight of her face, jaw clenched, eyes focused on a point beyond my shoulder. You were seen speaking to one of them near the northern ridge. I followed you myself. The words turned my stomach. I blink, trying to understand. Lyra, the Alpha's daughter, and I have been sisters since we were pups, sharing secrets under moonlight, braiding each other's hair before shifts. Lyra, you know me. You know I would never. She looks away, her shoulders rigid. Enough. Alpha Merrick steps forward, his boots echoing against the stone. Once those eyes held warmth when they looked at me. Now they're flat as granite. Dina Moss, by the power vested in me by the elders and the pack, you are hereby banished. You will leave by moonrise. Silence crashes like a tree struck by lightning. No one speaks. No one moves. There must be a trial, I hear myself say, though my voice sounds distant, weak. There must be a chance to. You had your chance to speak, Harvin says flatly. You chose lies instead. I look from face to face, searching for anyone who might defend me. Elder Soren, who taught me to read the old languages. Lars, who trained me in combat, who I once believed I meant something to. Even my father's closest friend, Uncle Kess, the man who raised me after rogues tore my parents apart. All of them turn away. My knees buckle. I sink to the forest floor, my palms pressing against the cold ground. A whimper escapes my wolf, confused and aching inside my chest. The pack I've loved my entire life surrounds me, and not a single one steps forward. They simply watch. And then they leave, filing out of the circle like I'm already dead to them. By midnight, I'm outside the territory line. The wards burn against my skin as I cross them, an invisible whip that lashes my soul from the inside out. I cry out, stumbling forward, and the pain ends. But the numbness that replaces it is somehow worse. My wolf lets out an anguished whine, her feelings of loss doubling mine. I walk. The forest is a blur of dark trees and darker sky. Snow falls in thin spirals, the kind that clings to eyelashes and fur. My cloak drags in the mud, soaked through and heavy. I don't bother holding it closed anymore. What does it matter? I'm so lost in the ache of it all that I don't notice the shift in the air until it's too late. Shadows move between the trees. My instincts scream a warning. I spin, claws extending as my wolf pushes closer to the surface. Too close. Too many. The rogues circle me with hungry eyes, their fur matted and dirty, their movements jerky with madness. Feral wolves, the kind that have lost themselves to the wild. One lunges. I strike, my claws finding purchase, but another comes from my blind side and latches onto my arm, dragging me down into the snow. Pain explodes through my shoulder. I thrash, trying to throw it off, but there are more. Always more. And I'm so tired, so empty, that part of me wonders if this is mercy. If this is how it's supposed to end. A howl splits the air, dark and screaming danger. The sound vibrates through my bones, and every rogue freezes. The one on my arm releases me instantly, whimpering. They scatter like ash in the wind, crashing through the underbrush in their desperation to escape. I lie gasping in the snow, my breath coming in ragged clouds. Boots crunch in the snow beside me. "By the moon, what are you doing out here?" A voice rasps, low and rough as bark. "You're going to get yourself killed wandering these woods alone." I blink up, my vision blurry from pain and cold. A figure towers above me, massive and shrouded in shadow. Snow clings to dark hair and a jaw sharp enough to cut glass. Glowing golden eyes meet mine, not the amber of a normal werewolf. These are molten, otherworldly, ancient. I should be afraid. Instead, I feel the first flicker of something I haven't felt since Lars, and I shared a kiss after the harvest moon dance over a year ago. My mouth closes as I clench my teeth against the pain where the rogue's teeth shredded the skin. He kneels beside me, and I catch his scent: autumn leaves, cold rain, and something wild underneath, something that makes my wolf go still. His hand hovers over my injured shoulder and arm, his palm facing down. Warmth radiates from him, and I watch in stunned silence as the torn flesh begins to knit together. The pain dulls, then fades entirely. He pulls his hand back, keeping it suspended above my skin without ever making contact. "Who are you?" I whisper. What he did had to be some kind of magic. Something wolves did not possess. He stands abruptly, his expression hardening into something closed off and dangerous. Someone who shouldn't have gotten involved. He extends a hand down to me, then stops. His arm drops to his side. I wait, confused. My shoulder and arm still ache with the memory of pain, even though I'm healed. I brace my arm against the snow and try to push myself up, but my legs won't cooperate. Exhaustion and shock have stolen what little strength I have left. "Help me up," I ask quietly. His jaw tightens. He doesn't move, doesn't speak. Just stands there, golden eyes fixed on me with an intensity that makes my wolf shudder. "Please," I add, hating how small my voice sounds. He looks away, out into the dark forest. When he speaks, his voice is barely above a whisper. "You wouldn't like it if I did." The words hang between us, cryptic and heavy with meaning. I search his face for an explanation, but he's completely closed to me now, a tall wall of muscle and secrets. I manage to get to my feet on my own, swaying slightly. My shoulder and arm are whole, unmarked. No sign of the wounds that should cover me. "There's a cabin a mile north," he says, still not looking at me. "You need shelter and water." "What's your name?" I ask. He finally glances back at me, and for just a moment I see something flicker across his features. Pain, maybe, or regret. "Don't ask me questions," he says. "Just follow." He starts walking into the darkness, and I follow without understanding why, or what I'm walking toward. Chapter 2: The Beast in the Woods. The cabin is small, tucked between ancient firs, as if the forest is trying to reclaim it. The roof sags slightly under the weight of snow. Smoke curls from the chimney, thick and gray against the black sky. He doesn't speak as he leads me there, and I'm too breathless from trying to keep up to ask anything else. My body screams for rest, but my senses are locked on him. He moves like something shaped from smoke and violence. Silent, fluid, far too graceful for a man his size. Every step is measured, deliberate, and unfairly mesmerizing. My wolf stirs beneath my skin, not just unsettled now, hungry. Not afraid. She wants closer. Closer than we have any business being to a stranger with danger in his bones and frost in his eyes. My logical mind whispers blood loss, shock, the ache of being cast out, but my body, my wolf, she leans toward him like a tide drawn to the moon. His coat pulls tight over broad shoulders, muscles flexing with quiet threat. But beneath that control, there's something unhinged. wild in a way that has nothing to do with pack law, something ancient and feral, a howl I feel in my gut instead of my ears. He's something I shouldn't crave. And yet I do. Stupid, dumb, and dangerous. The climb to the cabin is steep, and my legs feel like they might give out at any moment. I stumble slightly on a patch of ice, and I see him tense, as if he's about to reach for me, but he doesn't. His hands remain at his sides, and he simply slows his pace. "Almost there," he says, speaking for the first time since we left the forest clearing. When he opens the cabin door, warm air rushes out, curling around me like a balm. He steps aside, motioning for me to enter. I do, slowly, careful not to stagger. The inside is spare. Rough-hewn wood, a stone hearth, a battered table with 2 mismatched chairs. Furs cover the floor, worn but clean. A cot sits in the corner, already made with blankets that smell like cedar. On a shelf, I spot dried herbs hanging in bundles. Books are stacked haphazardly on another shelf, their spines cracked from age and use. This is a lived-in space. He's been here for a long time. I glance at him as he closes the door behind us, cutting off the howling wind. He doesn't meet my gaze. "You need to rest," he says, voice rough as gravel. "There's stew on the hearth, you should eat." I move toward the table, every step echoing too loudly in the quiet. He snaps his fingers, just like that, and the hearth flares to life. Flame blooms from nothing, warm and golden. Magic. He's Wolf and something else. I pause, heart thudding. He shifts subtly, placing himself between me and the door. A casual stance that still feels too deliberate. His golden eyes track my every movement. Not predatory exactly, but alert. Contained. Watching me like he's waiting for something to go wrong. A flicker of unease slips under my ribs. I'm alone, wounded, stripped of everything that once meant safety. I should be afraid. But I'm not. Not entirely. Curiosity edges out caution, and exhaustion dulls the rest. "Why are you helping me?" I ask as I sink into one of the chairs, trying to keep the tension out of my voice. Out of the way, my fingers clench around the worn wood of the seat. His jaw tightens. Didn't plan to. He walks to the table, grabs a cloth from a hook and tosses it to me. It lands softly in front of me. "For your face." Only then do I realize I'm not bleeding anymore. I wipe at my cheek and neck out of habit, wincing as the cloth drags across skin that should be torn open. The rogue's teeth had sunk deep. I remember the burn of it, bone deep and brutal. But when I lower the cloth, there's nothing. Only dried blood. No broken skin. Just smooth flesh. Too fast, even for a wolf. I stare at the cloth, then at him. Wolves don't heal others, not like this, not without touch. It's not possible. And yet here I am, whole. Something tightens low in my stomach. What is he? And why doesn't any of this scare me the way it should? "You didn't touch me," I say quietly, watching him. He freezes. His back is to me, but something in the air changes. The temperature seems to drop, even with the fire burning bright. "How did you do it?" I continue, my voice steady despite the confusion coursing through me. He turns slowly. His eyes catch the firelight, glowing like twin moons. There's something ancient in those eyes, something that has seen centuries pass. I push through his stony silence, the warning in those golden eyes. "What would have happened if you had? If you'd touched me?" I lean forward slightly. "You act like it would kill me, but that doesn't make sense. Werewolf healers touch all the time, and even then, they have no magic to accelerate the healing." He doesn't answer. Instead, he crosses the room, grabs the pot from the hearth with his bare hands, not even flinching at the heat, and ladles stew into a bowl. He places it on the table without a word, careful to set it down far enough away that our fingers won't accidentally brush. I sit, hands trembling as I eat. The food is hot, thick with root vegetables and meat I can't identify. Venison, maybe, or something wilder. It's the best thing I've ever tasted, and I'm suddenly aware of how hungry I am, how empty. He leans against the far wall, arms crossed, watching me with something that's not quite curiosity, not quite suspicion. I feel his gaze on me like a weight, heavy and assessing. "Are you ever going to tell me your name?" I ask between spoonfuls. He hesitates, and I can see him weighing whether to answer. "Roman." Roman, it suits him. Harsh, strong, carved from stone. A name that sounds like a command. "Dina," I offer. His gaze flicks away toward the fire. "I know." I stop chewing. The spoon hangs suspended between the bowl and my mouth. "How?" He doesn't answer that either. Instead, he uncrosses his arms and walks to a cabinet in the corner, opening it to reveal shelves lined with old jars. Dried herbs, salves, things I don't recognize. He starts rummaging through them with deliberate movements, his shoulders tense. The silence stretches between us, heavy and charged. I finish eating, watching him work. He seems to be looking for something specific, but I'm not sure what. "Why won't you touch me?" I finally ask. My voice is small, raw. The question feels too intimate, too revealing, but I need to know. This time he looks at me, and in his eyes I see something else beneath the cold. Fear, and a sadness so deep, tears spring unbidden to my eyes. "Because I don't want to see you die," he says quietly. My breath catches. The words hang in the air between us, impossible and terrifying. He pushes off from the cabinet, walks to a shelf, and starts pulling down books. Old leather-bound volumes that look ancient, like he didn't just say something that shattered the air between us. "What do you mean?" I whisper. He doesn't answer. He simply opens one of the books and begins to read, his back to me. The set of his shoulders tells me the conversation is over. But my wolf paces inside me, ears forward, unsettled and intrigued. She can smell his fear beneath his wild scent, and that terrifies her more than anything else has all night. Because if something this powerful is afraid, then I should be too. And what did he mean? I would die if he touched me. I finish my stew in cautious silence, watching the stranger who healed me with his hands held aloft. The questions multiply in my mind, each one darker than the last. But I'm exhausted, and my body demands rest. He didn't save me to hurt me. Of that much I am sure. I glance toward the cot in the corner. I should sleep. He doesn't look up from his book. "The cot is yours. I'll take the chair." "You don't have to." "I do," he says flatly. There's no argument to be made against that tone. I move to the cot, my muscles aching with relief as I lie down. The blankets smell like cedar and spice, and they're warmer than anything I've felt in hours. As sleep begins to pull me under, I watch Roman through half-closed eyes. He sits by the fire, that ancient book open on his lap, the stoic expression on his face stark in the light from the flames. He looks like something pulled from a nightmare, beautiful and terrible and entirely unknowable. My last thought before sleep claims me is simple. What curse is he carrying? And more importantly, why did he let me stay? Chapter 3, The Touch. I wake to gray light filtering through the windows. Snow has piled against the glass, and the world outside is silent. The kind of silence that only comes after a heavy snowfall. Roman is gone. I sit up, my heart stuttering for a moment before I hear him outside, the sound of an axe splitting wood. The rhythm is methodical, almost meditative. I wrap one of the blankets around my shoulders and move to the window. He's shirtless despite the cold, his massive frame moving with efficient precision. Each swing of the axe is controlled, powerful. Scars crisscross his back and shoulders, old ones, pale against his skin. Whip burns that puckered the skin in twisted patterns that suggest deliberate cruelty. My chest tightens at the sight of them. He's survived every wound the curse has forced him to endure alone. I watch him work, and something shifts inside me. Last night, I dreamed. It wasn't like normal dreams, fragmented and strange. I've had dreams before, scattered visions that sometimes came true in small ways. A rogue attack that killed my parents. A spreading sickness which I felt coming days before the first wolf fell ill. My mother always said I had the gift of knowing, though she said it carefully, as if the words themselves were dangerous. But this dream was different. This one was vivid, absolute. I was in a garden that didn't exist, surrounded by flowers that bloomed in colors that didn't exist in nature. Shades of violet that shimmered like starlight, golds that burned without heat, blues that held the depth of a magical sky. The air smelled like rain and ancient things awakening. Roman stood at the center of it all, and his skin was glowing with a dark light. Something poisonous and beautiful, writhing beneath the surface like living smoke. The darkness was alive, a second heartbeat thrumming beneath his skin, and it was consuming him from within. And I was touching him. My hands were on his shoulders, and the darkness was flowing out of him, into me, and I wasn't dying. I was absorbing it somehow, drawing it out like venom from a wound. Like I was a vessel designed specifically for this poison, this curse, this beautiful, terrible magic. He was screaming, but not in pain, in relief, in freedom. When I woke, the certainty remained. It sat in my chest, a boulder both solid and immovable, real in a way that my other visions had never been. I won't die if I touch him. I know it the way I know my own name, the way my wolf knows how to shift. Its instinct, pure and undeniable. Its truth written into the marrow of my bones. The axe stops mid-swing outside. He stands there, breathing heavily, and I realize he's felt me watching. His golden eyes track toward the window, finding me instantly. I should step back, hide. Instead, I wrap the blanket tighter and push open the cabin door. The cold hits me like a punch to the stomach. Snow crunches beneath my bare feet. I've lost my boots somewhere between the pack lands and here. The chill bites at my skin, but I don't care. You'll freeze, Roman says flatly, moving toward the stack of wood he's been splitting. He doesn't look at me. I run warm, I say, stepping closer. Werewolf thing. He sets another log on the stump, raises the axe. The muscles in his shoulders and chest tense with the motion. I'm struck again by how large he is, how dangerous. His body is a weapon, honed and lethal. You should go back inside, he says. I ignore him. Instead, I move toward the stump where he's working, watching as he positions another log. The axe rises and falls, rises and falls. A rhythm, a dance. Why won't you tell me what you are? I ask. He doesn't pause, doesn't miss a beat, because it doesn't matter. It matters to me. He sets down the axe carefully and finally turns to face me. His golden eyes are stormy, conflicted. There's something desperate in them, like a caged animal. Dina, you need to stop asking questions. You need to eat, rest, and then I'm taking you to the Eastern Territories. There's a pack there that might take you in. You're sending me away. Yes. The word smacks like an alpha's slap. I know he can't keep a stranger in his cabin forever, but hearing him say it aloud makes my chest tighten. I don't want to leave, I say quietly. His jaw works. You don't have a choice. Something in me snaps. Maybe it's desperation. Maybe it's the certainty that's been humming through my bones since I woke from that dream. Maybe it's just that I'm tired of being cast away. I step closer to him. Roman. Don't, he warns, taking a step back. I step forward again. We're playing a game of chase, but in reverse. He's retreating and I'm advancing. You healed me, I say. Without touching me, you brought me here. You gave me shelter and food and now you leave. He holds up his hands like a barrier. This ends here. What if I don't want it to? I'm close enough that I can feel the heat radiating from his body. He smells like sweat and spice, and that dark, ancient thing beneath it all. My wolf is pushing closer to the surface, drawn to him like a seedling to the sun. Dina, I'm warning you. I close the distance between us and fall forward into his arms. For a moment, I feel his solid warmth against me, feel his body tense with shock. My hands find his shoulders, his skin warm and real beneath my palms. His scent overwhelms me. I tilt my head up, closing my eyes. He steps back suddenly, violently, and I lose my balance. My fingers slip from his shoulders, and I stumble backward, my feet tangling in the snow. I fall hard on my backside, the impact driving the air from my lungs. You could have died, he shouts, his voice raw with something that sounds like anguish. His hands are shaking, no, his entire body is shaking. I gasp, pushing myself up and rubbing my sore backside. Snow sticks to my bare legs. Yeah, I say, standing up. I almost did. Why did you do that? His voice cracks. Why would you? I shrug, brushing snow from my skin. I didn't have a death wish, if that's what you were thinking. Then what were you thinking? He runs his hand through his hair, his golden eyes wild with panic and something else, something darker. You could have been poisoned, burned from the inside out. You don't understand what I am, what I'm capable of. I know things sometimes, I interrupt quietly. The words come out steady and calm like the sea on a sunny day. And I knew I wouldn't die from your touch. He stares at me like I've spoken in a language he doesn't understand. How could you possibly? I dreamed it, I say, and the truth of it resonates through me like a bell. I saw it, you, me, something dark flowing out of you, and I was taking it in, healing you. His face goes pale. In the gray morning light, with snow falling around us and his bare chest heaving, he looks vulnerable in a way that terrifies me more than anything else has. Don't say that, he whispers. Why not, if it's true? Because, he says, his voice breaking, if you believe that, then you'll come closer. And if you come closer, I might not be strong enough to push you away again. And that, he closes his eyes, that will destroy us both. I stand there, shaking from cold and something else entirely, watching him struggle with whatever curse he's carrying. And in that moment, I know that I'm not leaving. Not until I understand what he is. Not until I find a way to save him. Chapter 4, Blood and Starlight. The cabin feels smaller after what happened outside. Roman disappears into the forest for hours, leaving me alone with my thoughts. When he finally returns close to nightfall, he brings firewood. He also refuses to meet my eyes. I should leave. The sensible part of me knows this, but sensible hasn't served me well lately. Instead, I stay. He sits by the fire, staring into the flames like they hold answers he desperately needs. I approach slowly, giving him time to tell me to go. He doesn't. Tell me about the curse, I say, settling into the chair across from him. He doesn't answer immediately. When he does, his voice is barely above a whisper. There was a woman, a long time ago. I wait. My wolf is still inside me, ears forward, listening. Her name was Vivi. He leans forward, elbows on his knees. She was human, mortal, everything I wasn't supposed to want. He laughs bitterly. But I wanted her anyway, needed her the way I needed to breathe. The pain in his voice is so raw it makes my chest ache. What happened? I ask softly. I broke laws that had stood for centuries. Fey law, werewolf law, everything that governed what I was supposed to be. As a halfling, both fey and werewolf, I was destined for a solitary life, never allowed to mate, never allowed to love. I chose her anyway. when they found us. He runs his hand through his hair, and I see his fingers trembling. My wolf whines, upset that he is hurting. How did they curse you? I ask, a hitch in my voice. A covenant, he says, binding magic that went deeper than blood. The Fey elder who invoked it made it clear, your love will burn, your touch will kill. Your heart will outlive them all until you find the other half. He finally looks at me, and his golden eyes are haunted. I left her then and there, she found me, threw herself in my arms, she died there screaming as the poison ripped through her veins. I flinch. The image is brutal, terrible, and absolutely real in the way his voice cracks around the words. That was when I understood, he continues. I was a curse, everything person I touched would wither, so I did the only thing left to do. I came here, to this forgotten place, and I've been alone ever since. How long? I whisper. Long enough that I stopped counting the years in human terms. The fire crackles between us, and I think about what he's just told me. Centuries of solitude, centuries of believing himself irredeemable, centuries of carrying the weight of a woman's death. Why are you telling me this? I ask. His gaze intensifies, and the air between us shifts. There's something in it that makes my skin prickle and my pulse quicken. Because you need to understand what I am, what touching me actually means. I survived it. Yes, and that shouldn't be possible. He stands, pacing away from the fire. His bare shoulders catch the orange light, scars rippling across his skin like a map of old pain. She burned before my eyes. My stomach twists, and I didn't. No. He turns to face me, and there's something hungry in his expression now, something that makes my wolf sit up and take notice. You didn't. I stand, drawn toward him by some force I don't fully understand. Why? Because you're not entirely wolf, he says, and the words hit like a confession. I felt it every time I passed close to your village. That was how I knew your name, knew you. Your blood called me the moment you stumbled into my forest. Fey blood, old blood, hidden blood. The room tilts slightly. That's impossible, I say, but even as the words leave my mouth, I know they're a lie. All the pieces I've been ignoring for years suddenly align. My grandmother, driven out of the pack when I was too young to understand why. The whispers that followed her name. My parents died in what was officially called a rogue attack, though some whispered it was something else entirely. Something staged, something deliberate. Alpha Merrick's silence whenever I asked questions, and his slaps that eventually made me never, ever ask again. And Lyra, dear Lyra, who had been my only friend, who had slowly, methodically pulled away from me as I got older. I'd thought it was because she was becoming Alpha's heir, and I was just a regular wolf. She had to have known, her father the Alpha as well. Your pack found out, Roman says, reading the realization dawning on my face. That's why they exiled you. My blood runs cold. They said I betrayed them. They said I conspired with rogues, that I compromised pack security. Lyra lied, telling them I was passing information to our enemies. A cover story. I sink back into the chair, my hands shaking. Why would they lie? Because Fey blood is a threat to them. Roman moves closer. My wolf sits up, whining for him. Fey magic is ancient, powerful, and it doesn't bow to pack hierarchy the way wolf blood does. You're unmarked, unbound by their traditional chains of command. If you ever awaken to what you truly are, what you could become, you'd be a challenge to their authority. I think of Lyra's father, Alpha Merrick, with his harsh words and even harsher treatment. I think of Elder Harvin, who used to look at me with something approaching suspicion even before the exile. I think of the way they'd all rallied so quickly behind the accusation, how easily they'd believed the worst of me. They were afraid of me, I say, and it's not a question. Yes. So they destroyed me, instead of letting me become something they couldn't control. Roman kneels in front of me, and the proximity sends a jolt through my system. His massive frame is somehow gentle in this moment, his golden eyes searching mine. Your pack didn't just betray you because you were a threat to their power. They betrayed you because they knew they could never love what you might become. His words cut deeper than any blade. Did they ever love me at all? The question comes out broken. Or was I just something they were waiting to destroy? I don't know, Roman says, and I appreciate the honesty even as it breaks something inside me. But I know what I see now. He reaches out slowly, deliberately, giving me time to pull away. His hand hovers near my face, and I can feel the heat radiating from his skin. This close, I can sense the power beneath the surface of him, the dark, writhing magic that killed Vivi, the thing he's been running from for centuries. And I'm not afraid. Don't stop, I whisper. Touch me, please. He closes the distance, his palm settling against my cheek. His skin is warm and rough and alive, and nothing happens. No poison, no burning, just the simple, extraordinary sensation of being touched by someone who thought he could never touch again. His breath catches. I can't believe this is possible. He leans closer, and the wildness inside of him calls to the wild inside me. His forehead touches mine, and the contact sends shivers across my skin. His hand slides to the back of my neck, fingers threading into my hair. Your pack will sense it, he says, his voice rough with certainty. The moment your fey blood fully awakens, they'll know you're alive. They'll hunt you with everything they have. I pull back just enough to look into his eyes. Then teach me, show me what I am, because I'm done running. Something shifts in his expression, a crack in the armor of his guilt and isolation. You'll have to be strong, stronger than you've ever been. I survived exile. I survived your touch. I'm ready. He studies my face for a long moment, as if trying to memorize it. You're brave, he says. Foolishly, recklessly brave. Is that a compliment? It's a warning. His hand tightens slightly, pulling me closer. Because once they sense your awakening, they won't stop hunting, ever. Then we'll be ready together, I say. He closes his eyes, and I can see the internal war playing out behind his eyelids. The part of him that wants to protect me warring with the part that's been starving for connection for centuries. Finally, he opens his eyes and looks at me. There's no kiss, just the weight of his gaze holding mine dark with something I recognize as desire, yes, but also with protectiveness and a fierce certainty. Then we'll start at dawn, he says. I'll teach you everything. Your bloodline, your magic, how to control it, how to fight, how to survive what's coming. The fire crackles behind us, casting dancing shadows across the cabin. Outside, the wind howls, a reminder that the peace we've found here is temporary. But inside, there's only warmth and the slow, electric awakening of something that feels a lot like destiny. Chapter 5, Ember and Thorn. We don't sleep much. When dawn breaks, it's a soft blue-gray light slipping through the cracks in the shutters. Roman is already up, standing shirtless at the open door, snow dusting his hair like frost over embers. His expression is unreadable. Still here, he says without turning. Still choosing to be, I answer. A twitch of his lips, almost a smile. The next few hours pass in a blur of motion and breath. He tests me, gently at first, small exercises to draw the fey magic to the surface, feeling the shift in air pressure when I reach for it, the pulse in my palms. He explains how fey magic doesn't obey the same laws as wolf strength. It's not about domination, it's about resonance, will. His is the power of healing everything except himself. Mine, the force of nature. And it is strong. Too strong. The first time I channel it, I crack the ice across the stream behind the cabin without touching it. Impressive, Roman mutters, eyebrows raised. I didn't mean to. That's the problem. He circles me as I try again, this time guiding my hands, staying just close enough to buzz across my nerves. I can feel the tension in him, like he wants to touch me again, but is still afraid to break whatever fragile truce his body has made with mine. It feels like fire under my skin, I whisper. That's your heritage waking up. He stops behind me, voice low at my ear, and it's only going to burn hotter. By late afternoon, I'm spent. The forest seems to hum with awareness, like it's watching, judging, maybe even waiting. We sit in the snow at the edge of a ridge, looking down at the valley where Roman says the ancient Fey rites used to be performed. There's nothing there now but mist and bone-deep silence. I used to think if I came back here, the curse would kill me, he says. And now? His golden eyes gleam. Now I think it's waiting for you. I shiver. Why me? Because your blood wakes the old magic. He glances at my hands. And old magic remembers its heirs. Something shifts in the air, like a ripple through time. I feel it in my teeth. Roman stands. We'll try something stronger tomorrow, a summoning, see if the forest answers you. And if it does, then you'll be more than a wolf with a secret. You'll be a storm they can't control. I should be afraid of that, but all I feel is clarity. I want the truth. I want power. I want justice. I want to go back, I say quietly. Not to beg, to burn it down. He turns to me slowly. You're not ready. I will be. I don't mean it as a challenge, but the way he looks at me, like the words struck some buried chord, makes the air between us shift, sharpen, heat. His gaze drags over my face, lingering too long on my mouth. You shouldn't say things like that, he says, voice low and rough. Not unless you mean them. I do. My breath catches when he steps closer, no more than a hand's width between us. My wolf stirs again, brighter this time, bolder. There's no fear in her now, only want. He lifts his hand, slow enough for me to stop him. I don't. His fingers skim along my jaw, up to my cheek, a whisper of touch that feels like a storm beneath my skin. You shouldn't let me, he murmurs. I've been careful this long for a reason. Then stop being careful, I whisper back. For one heartbeat, everything stills. Then he kisses me. It starts slow, like he's memorizing the shape of my mouth. Every movement, reverent. His lips are warm, tasting of firelight and snowfall, of restraint breaking under the weight of something deeper. I lean into him, into the promise in his kiss, and feel the sharp pull of longing rise like a tide. His hands find my back, still cautious but no longer distant. When I press closer, he exhales a sound that's almost a growl, hungry, aching. We stumble inside the cabin. The door shuts behind us, but it might as well be the world closing out. There's only him, only us. Clothes are forgotten in the quiet urgency of touch, not rushed but inevitable, like gravity drawing stars to collapse. Each layer peeled away is a question and an answer, a vow unspoken. His hands are sure now, reverent as they learn me. I rise to meet him, hungry for the warmth of skin against skin, the safety of being seen and wanted in a way I never have been before. It's not about dominance. It's not about power. It's about belonging. He lays me down with a gentleness that steals my breath. The furs beneath us are soft and smell faintly of cedar. The fire crackles low, casting our shadows across the walls. He touches me like a man afraid to hope, but needing to feel. I arch beneath him, answering without words, letting the truth of this moment sink into my bones. Every movement is deliberate. Every kiss, every press of his body, feels like unraveling something sacred. I don't want it to end. And when it does, when we finally fall together into silence, breathless and bare, he pulls me close like he doesn't trust the world not to steal me away. Outside, the wind howls. Inside, I find something I didn't know I needed. Not just warmth, but home. Chapter 6, The Marking Moon. The air crackles with frost, and the scent of my magic. After a month of working nonstop to harness my power, we are ready to test it to its fullest extent. Roman draws a symbol in the slushy snow with the tip of his blade. Spirals within spirals, edged with sharp angles that sting the eye if you look too long. "Don't step over it until I say," he warns. I nod, heart thundering. This is the summoning. This is the test. His eyes meet mine, to see if the forest accepts you or devours you. Not dramatic at all. He steps back, kneel in the center. I lower to my knees, and the moment I cross the symbol's edge, the air thickens. I feel the pull of something beneath the earth, ancient and alive. Close your eyes. The forest falls silent. Then the wind rises like a voice, chanting in a language I don't understand but my bones do. The magic rushes up to meet me. It feels like drowning in starlight. My skin glows faintly gold. I gasp. The snow beneath me melts in a perfect circle. The trees bow inward, leaves whispering my name, and something inside me snaps free. I scream, not from pain but from knowing. When it fades, I'm still kneeling, but I feel different, marked. Roman watches with an unreadable expression. "You bear the sign." I glance at my wrist. A faint crescent now glows there, etched in light. "What does it mean?" "It means the forest accepts your claim." He hesitates. "And others will feel it, including your former alpha. When the snow truly melts and the way is clear, they will come." I stand. Good. Chapter 7. What Remains of Loyalty. They come the next day at dusk. Howls ripple across the valley like war drums, and my stomach twists with dread. Roman grips his blade beside me, his jaw set. I know what he's thinking. 2 against an entire pack is madness. "We can leave," I whisper. "We can run." He doesn't answer, just squeezes my hand once. A promise or a goodbye, I'm not sure which. The first wolf through the trees is Lyra. She doesn't shift. She walks forward in human form, her brown eyes burning with something between fury and heartbreak. "Dina," she says, like it hurts. "We came to bring you home." "You mean to kill me," I say flatly. My gaze flickers to her father, like he did my parents. Gasps erupt from the wolves of my former pack who came to bear witness. Uncle Kess looks shocked, his gaze whipping between me and Merrick. My former alpha steps forward, flanked by his guards, his massive frame radiating authority. Once I bowed down to it. "Not a chance, Merrick, but you will." He lunges, blade drawn, and only then do I unleash my power. The forest answers my call. Roots erupt from beneath the snow, wind tears through the clearing with the force of a hurricane. I blast him backward with magic that tastes like starlight and ancient earth. He crashes into the trees hard enough to crack bark. The pack members who came to bear witness go silent. They watch as their alpha struggles to rise, as he looks at the gathered wolves with fury that can no longer command obedience. They will have another alpha soon. Uncle Kess steps forward, his graying wolf form trembling. For a moment, I think he'll challenge me too. Instead, he looks at me. His expression crumples into something like an apology. He turns away, tears streaming down his face, as if finally reckoning with all he had let happen. And didn't bother to stop. The pack retreats into the darkness, leaderless and uncertain. When it's over, I stand among the trees in human form, breath steaming, heart steady. Roman shifts beside me, his hand finding the small of my back. I am not just a survivor. I am an heir to something greater. He turns to face me, his golden eyes reflecting the last light of dusk. There's no need for words. We've said enough. He cups my face in his hands, hands that were cursed for centuries, hands that learned to touch without poison, and he kisses me. It's not urgent or desperate. It's a promise. It's certainty. When we break apart, his forehead rests against mine. "Stay," he says simply. Always, I answer, my now golden eyes noting the love in his. It's not a grand vow or a flowery declaration. It's just the truth between us. Two people who found each other in the dark and chose to step into the light together. Thank you for listening to Dina's story. If you loved her journey from exile to power, please like and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Share this story with others who crave tales of magic, survival, and love forged in fire. Until the next story, may your own journeys be as transformative as Dina's.